See you
There we
better?
go. Yep.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, I'm so excited for.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, good, good.
I'm gonna turn
Excited
the
to
volume.
learn about how to work the pendulum in self-care.
Yeah. And I use pendulums for a number of reasons. And when I first started using pendulums and learning how to use them, actually it was my mom when I was growing up. She used to use a needle and thread, and she would hang the needle over the woman's wrist, a pregnant woman, and tell her what kind of baby she was having.
Oh, wow. Your mom's
Yeah,
cool.
I know, isn't that crazy? But it helps. I mean, it works. So each finger that we have represents a different charge, okay? So our thumb is a neutral charge, no charge. So the thumb is neutral. The forefinger or the pointer finger, index finger is negative. Your middle finger is positive, ring finger negative, pinky is positive. If you want to check out what your responses are, like, first of all, and I have a handout that to share with you as far as instructions on how to use them and stuff. Some of them can be made from wood, crystals, really anything. You can use a necklace as a pendulum as long as it.
Mine's copper.
Perfect.
Or brass or whatever, brass.
Yeah, that's actually great. This one is a newer one of mine that I haven't had a lot of time with, but it's a shungite, which helps with electromagnetic, energy.
Nice.
Yeah, so I liked that. So I got that one. So the first thing we want to do is the way we hold our pendulum. You hold it with these three fingers: neutral, negative, positive. So positive, neutral, negative holds the end of it. So it is not one more than the other. Okay, so you hold it with those three fingers. Mm-hmm. Hold it over your hand, and I'm going to show you on mine so you see it on yours, okay? Uh-huh. So when I hold it over my thumb, that's neutral for me. That's what neutral looks like, okay? It just kind of shaking a little bit, right? I'm going to try and show my hand to show you that I'm not moving this, okay? Okay, so this is neutral.
Right.
And then move my hand, and this is my negative. No.
Okay.
Counterclockwise.
Okay.
And then tell me when you get that.
All right, I've gotten. All right, so now I'm going to go to
the forefinger.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be your answer to what your no answer would be.
Okay, so mine just kind of goes back and forth.
So forward and backwards like this?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is your no. Okay,
that's my no. Okay.
Your no. Now go to your middle finger, and what does that do for you?
It goes counterclockwise.
Okay, so that is your yes.
Oh, interesting. Very cool.
And mine goes clockwise for yes, okay? So now you're suspended just above your ring finger. What do you get?
So like how far up?
So I'm, okay, if you can see, it's my hand's on the table, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm holding this up about what, like 6, 8 inches?
Okay, so that far.
Yeah.
That far up?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Pendulum, the tip of the pendulum is about, what would that be? About maybe 3, 4 inches above your finger.
Okay, so it's doing the same thing like the yes.
Okay, good, because that is a yes.
Okay.
Is it not? No. This one is a no. So.
Wait, no, this one was yes. This one was no. The ring finger now would be a yes.
Okay. So this is neutral.
Neutral. Yes.
This is negative.
Oh, no,
so
right.
No.
What
your no is.
And then the yes. Okay, so yeah, this would be no again. Yes, okay.
Okay. So we have it the same as your pointer finger, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now go to your pinky. And what do you get?
The same thing, counterclockwise.
Okay, so that is your yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
So your yes is counterclockwise and your no is back and forth like this, right?
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. So
I was dyslexic in my pendulum.
that's okay. And you know what I instantly thought of was just the Mercury retrograde that's in your chart.
Yeah.
You know, like the retros, everybody's answers are different though, Robin. So what I mean by that is that sometimes yes can be that back and forth and no can be side to side. Sometimes yes can be counterclockwise and clockwise can be no. It's just the individual, how the tool is responding to you.
So do you check every time you are starting something like this?
Actually, what I do is another thing I learned is that each pendulum, so the answer is yes, each pendulum may give you different answers.
Okay.
For me personally, any pendulum I typically connect with usually will give me the same pattern for yes, same pattern for no. Only, I don't know if it's just because I've used that for so long, but I have had people that I know that have told me that they have several pendulums and each of them answer differently. Each yes is different. And I'm like, oh, okay. So just know that that's a possibility. But what I always do before I start is I ask it, show me yes. Stop. Show me no. And that is my no. Stop. Am I clear to ask a question? And I got yes.
Okay.
Then that's the next question you ask. After you check to see, okay, show me yes, show me no. You check over each of your fingers to say, okay, are each of them answering correctly? Great, we're in alignment. And then you ask, am I clear to ask a question?
Am I clear to ask a question? Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Okay.
So now what we do is we frame the question around yes, no, or neutral, like maybe, right? Okay. Neutral is just neutral. But so you ask, it's just yes, no, or maybe. And you know what? When I first started learning how to use a pendulum, and the reasons why I thought to bring it in this particular instruction is because when I had first started using these, I was using them to assess, and that's actually why I thought to put it in this, but to assess our chakra, right? To assess my chakras, you hold your arm out about maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet in front of you, and then you assess each of them by standing up and holding your arm out about a full arm length out in front of you, and just assess. When you get above your head like this, you know, it's kind of a challenge because you got to look up, right? Okay, that's open, crown's open. And then I hold it in front of me about right here. And then I assess the third eye, the throat, heart, and then all the way down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, I'll let you finish that piece.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just checking. I'm not standing up though.
Oh, that's okay. You're not what?
I'm not standing up.
Oh, I know. I wasn't either because I'm trying to stay in the camera.
Well, it seems like everything is open.
Good. So the other thing that you'll look at though, when you're assessing yourself, when you answer the question, am I clear to ask a question? And you know what your yes and no is, and you know what open and closed is, right? Because it won't hardly move if it's closed.
Right.
Then what we're doing is we're assessing our chakras and we're measuring if it's open, okay, if it moves and if it's open, but we're also assessing the size of that swing. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Because we can be this much open in our third eye and this much open in our throat.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
This much open in our heart, but our third eye is hardly open. So that lets us know that is not open, it's blocked, or we need to open that up, right?
Mm-hmm.
It
And what
looks
about
good.
this? What about the speed?
The speed? That's interesting.
I mean, because like, oh,
Yeah,
it's like, whoa.
yeah. That looks good.
Oh, now it's going weird. It's not, oh, there it goes.
Your crown is wide open.
Yeah.
Um,
It's got, all right. Well, that's because it's not right over my head. Okay.
exactly. This one here is kind of strange, but
Yeah.
you know, just because of the reach and generally, I've never chopped this down, you know, this chain, but I typically like shorter pendulums only because of that swing that you talked about, like the intensity of it, right? I find for me, I typically like a heavier pendulum because the swing when it opens and stuff like that, it's very intense. Like I typically go like this and I'm
Yeah.
going, oh my God, I can't even hold on to this thing. It's so light. I need a heavier one so it doesn't do all that, you know?
Yeah.
This one is lighter than I typically prefer, but for demonstration purposes. But the intensity of it does indicate, you know, I look at that as you are wide open and the energy is just flowing. You know what I mean?
Now, so like, what if it's overactive?
Well,
Like,
it's
can you tell if that's, or, I mean, is that a bad thing? I don't know. I'm like,
well, overactive, it can be a bad thing now, or actually a challenge, I should say. I don't like the word problem because denotes continuity. I don't know why, but a challenge though, that's accepted and overcome, right?
yeah.
So the challenge is deciphering your yes and no question, you know, framing it correctly, and then assessing open and closed. If one is more overactive, let me get back to your question. If one is more overactive, I typically use my breath and envision, and I work the energy to make them all equal. That's actually the goal, is that all of them are somewhat equal. Some might, you know, be more open and bouncy and stuff, like our heart, you know, our heart tends to do this a lot. Mine does, I don't know, contract and constrict. But with the overactive, my mind instantly goes to the linked chakras, Robin. So like if we have an overactive third eye and we assess ourselves, okay, and we see that our third eye is like, wow, it's really open. And then we get down to our sacral, which is what our third eye is linked to, and that's not as open as our third eye, then that lets you know that there's not necessarily a disconnect, but there's more energy flowing to the third eye than there is to the sacral. So we link them by using the bowls. That's how I link them, and energetically. I've linked them energetically before, but I've amped it up with the use of the crystal bowls as well. But we harmonize those centers. I don't know how else to say it other than evening them out, linking them together, linking the chakras together, and making sure that they're all somewhat equal. Some of them might be a tiny bit bigger, and that's okay, but as long as they're not closed or very small open to these largely open areas. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what if somebody has like it's closed? Like, what do you recommend? Like, let's just say it's a throat chakra or something. That's
perfect. That's a great question. Great question, actually. So in this particular process that we're leading you through, right, we would use our voice. Okay. Mm-hmm. Or the original way that I would instruct it or do it myself is I would breathe. And in my mind's eye, I am bringing my breath and light down my crown. And when I am breathing, I am envisioning this beautiful blue light being washed away with my breath, any impurities, anything that needs to be removed. And then I breathe to allow it to I just imagine my breath being like a, what's it called? Like a cleanser, my breath cleansing the area. My breath is cleansing the area. My intention is intending it on being equal and open. Now look, see, it's not as crazy as it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
See how it slowed down a little bit, but it's still open?
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so I use my breath. But the other way to do it is your voice. Mm-hmm. Would you like to see a demonstration of that?
Uh-huh.
I'm going to move my camera over there a little bit because my bowl is over here. Okay.
It is perfect.
It is. It's awesome. So this is the throat bowl. So if our throat is overactive, then I would go to the sacral because that was the one that's linked to it and we kind of need to even things out, right? But if our throat was closed and the sacral was open, I'd go to the throat, okay? I'd go to the one that's closed first because we don't want to make it worse than it currently is, right? More overactive. So you want to open up what might be blocked or whatever. So we are going to sing the bowl and we're going to match, it's called toning.
Uh-huh.
We're going to match our voice to the sound of the bowl. We're just going to mimic, okay, like a parrot, okay?
Uh-huh.
And you don't have to be an opera singer or anything like that. And I had gotten this little tip from someone a couple months ago. You can say, ah, or oh, ooh, or hue.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that one because that really, ready?
Yeah. That was cool.
Is that amazing or what?
I love it.
I love it too. So go one more time.
Okay.
And then we're going to go to the root because the root is linked to the throat.
Oh.
Okay, so we're going to open up the throat, make sure that's good, and then we're going to go to the root, link it, and we're going to sing that one, okay? So this is the throat again.
Oh, it's so funny. It almost connects with my heart too.
Right.
So that's cool.
Okay, so now.
So explain the root, why is the root connected to the throat? Or tell me a little bit more about the root chakra.
Okay, so the root chakra is our connection here, right? We use our root chakra to ground and connect and be in our body and allow ourselves to be human, reminding ourselves that we're human. But our roots are here, survival, tribal, survival instincts, it's primal, okay? In my studies, I had found that the throat is connected to the root in that when we are rooted and in our body and we are and the root and the throat are connected, we're more apt to speak our truth and come from a space of grounded truth.
That makes sense.
And when those two are connected, we are more apt to speak our truth because we are in our body. We know who we are. We are rooted in who we are. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the root. Hold on.
I like that tone too.
Uh-huh. We're gonna go one more time. And then what I like to do, Robin, is I like to harmonize both of them. And what I found when I do that, I'll do it separately, the throat, then the root, and then when we blend them, it links, but then it's just amazing. You'll understand when you feel it, I think. So here's the root. There it is.
It's incredible.
What's that?
It's incredible. That's really great.
I know, it's amazing actually, right? So getting back to the pendulum though, when we assess each of the chakras, what I have noticed when I was, assessing patients, assessing clients, when I would assess them with the chakra beforehand, there would be a couple different patterns that I'd notice, okay? The energy would look like this. It would look like this, the pattern, or it would look like this.
Yeah.
And when it looks like this is the root, and this is the upper chakras. Their roots closed, and everything up here is open, okay? And that tells me that they're not in their body fully.
Yeah.
They're had a lot, they want to spend a lot of time outside their body, right? But when we see the pattern of this, everything on the bottom is open, but they're too much in their heads because their crown isn't open, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not,
yeah,
they're more in they're in their head, and they're more like, oh gosh, stressed out or whatever. Then the other pattern is this and this. And this typically indicates like their heart is closed. I mean, the heart is the bridge. It connects it, right? It helps the flow come down and everything to kind of go down and figurate back up and do this, right? But when this is not as opened, it can cause, obviously, issues in this area, whether it's heart or lung related or glands or hormones or whatever. But this is the bridge. And if the bridge is broken, you're not going to last very long, right? You're not going to create much harmony within yourself or around yourself. So when I see that pattern, I obviously go right to the heart, I go to whatever the area is that needs to be opened. So if it looks like this, then I go to the head. If it goes to the, now I just use the pendulum for the client. I'm so used to saying patients, clients, for their sake, really. Because, when it's when you don't use it and you're going to somebody to receive a healing session, and you've never used a pendulum before, but hey, do you want to see what it looks like beforehand? And then you do your work, and then afterwards you assess again. They're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I can see the before and after. I mean, that's how people are able to contrast whether it worked or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Not whether it worked or not, but people like proof.
Yeah, they like to see the differences. Yeah.
Difference. So when you assess it beforehand, and then, okay, that's what it is, and then you do the work on them, or they do it on themselves, and then them afterwards, you're able to see the difference. That's what I like about pendulums, actually. And that's really the only real purpose I use them for now, is for the client's sake, so that they can see for themselves whether it's working for them or not.
Mm-hmm.
Question?
No, totally cool. Like, I learned something new about the pendulum. So
good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome.
Yeah, like I never learned about the finger thing.
Really? I learned that initially, and I've taken some dowsing classes from a master dowser here in Denver. His name is, oh my gosh, of course, now I'm going to forget his dang name. Hank. His name is Hank.
Oh,
great.
Hank.
He's a master dowser. He's part of he's part of the dowsing community here in Denver area, and he teaches dowsing classes. He uses even dowsing rods. Have you ever seen those?
I have, yeah.
I've never used them, I don't think, but I think those are super cool. But
Yeah.
I've taken a couple classes from him over the years, and it is so individualized, Robin. It really is, because the pendulum is a tool that connects you to your higher self. Yeah. They're all tools, right? But this particular tool, a lot of people, when they first start to use it though, they, I'm going to grab they don't get a response. Like they'll go to use it and they get frustrated and they'll just throw the thing to the side because it didn't work. But that didn't work for me either the first time though. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's a matter of getting out of your way and just opening and just being kind of just clear to just be. Do you know what I mean? Just allow it to move. Allow it to do whatever it needs to. Sometimes it's a matter of connecting with the tool. Yeah. But yeah. I like them.
I do too.
I like them a lot.
I have a couple of them, but they're like, it's just like, I've never like used them. It doesn't seem like for me, unless I'm using it like with a client for Reiki, and I don't ever have to do that anymore because
right.
I do my thing. Right. So, but now, I mean, like just learning this, like I might just, try it with, other things.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the great thing is that you don't need, and you can be a pendulum.
How can I be a pendulum?
You are the pendulum. You are the tool. This is just an outward extension of you. Well, this isn't. This is an outward extension of me. Yours is an outward extension of you. Okay? Okay. If we just toss the tool aside and we say to ourselves, self, I'd like to ask a yes or no question. So I ask a yes or no question, and I'm standing still, straight up, straight. You're standing, grounded, deep breath, exhale, ask your yes or no question. And if you lean forward, naturally, this isn't just, I know that's a yes, okay, woo. No, naturally, if you're standing there, you ask your question in your mind or out loud, and you naturally kind of step, like your body kind of goes back this way, it's a no. Like if you ask your yes or no question standing up and your body leans towards it, that's a yes. You can do it in the grocery store. Is this the product that my body wants to eat? Is this the product that I want to ingest or whatever? You can do it so what I had done after I'd started working with the pendulum a little while, I didn't have it with me. I was using it for everything, and I was in the grocery store. This is how I know. but it wasn't about the leaning in or backing, leaning back. It was yes and no, seeing it in my mind's eye.
All right, right.
So I would say, should I grab this or should I buy this one? And I would hear yes. Or should I buy this? And I would see no, and I would hear no. Okay, no thanks, whatever. And then that's when I stepped away from using the pendulum so much, because I was like, okay, I've got it. I'm tuned in. I can get the answers directly to me now. I don't need to use the tool anymore.
Right.
But it's just a matter of, using it.
Yeah, I do remember being taught that, like gosh, these were so many years ago when I was first learning about energy and, kind of easing my way into alignment with, my higher self. And I remember the leaning for, I just like, thank you for reminding me of that.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yes. Lean forward or lean back.
Right. I do remember that now. It's been a long time. It's been a long time because like normally I just know, but I'm going to start playing with that a little bit more.
I think it really is a great tool. And I forget that I have this great little tool. I forget that I have this until, teaching a class like this, and I go, oh, that's right, pendulums. I got a pendulum there. And so it's like reteaching myself. Do you know what I mean? Like not reteaching. I already know it. It's going back to the basics so I can share it.
Yeah, just reminders.
Yeah, little reminders.
Cool.
So that is the use of pendulums. And the purpose of integrating it into this series was
oh, you went away.
No, I didn't actually. I got a phone call and I didn't okay, so reminder for self, do not disturb. I forget where I was. I apologize.
Teaching the class, self-care, using the pendulum.
Oh, using the pendulum. So I had to take my brain back to, okay, April, what did you do when you first started learning this? Because I just use it now for their visual.
Yeah.
But it is a super helpful tool. And I forget that I have that tool until situations like this come up where it's like, okay, let's teach about this because this is an important factor for self-assessment.
Let me ask you a question. Could you assess someone like over a Zoom call?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe I could.
Like, is it by proxy?
Well,
or is it like how, like, I'm just curious. It just popped up in my mind.
So
I thought I would ask it.
So I'm going to, I think it's an awesome question though, because it makes me break down my mental processes to explain it to you. Not break them down, but it helps me to, okay. So how I would look at it, Robin, is long distance Reiki. Okay. Connect, create the connection. And then when I'm holding this out, I am intending that this is not in my field. I am assessing you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. So Honsho Seishonan. Okay, so this is your heart. Open. Throat. Open. Not as open as the heart, but I'm going to do it this way so I can assess in alignment with you. Oh, can you see that? Sorry.
No, there.
Okay.
Okay.
So
yeah.
This is your heart. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. This is your throat. See how it's not as open as your heart?
Yeah.
And then move up to the third eye. That's more open. And then I drop my down. That's what happens. So we're at the throat, third eye, and then the crown, open. So the throat.
Huh.
And that's interesting because that was the first thing you mentioned.
Right.
You already know what you need, you silly woman.
I know. Oh.
I'm going to put my phone back up here on the holder because I want to actually be able to do this correctly without doing it. I don't like that. Okay, so we're back to the heart. And your solar plexus. Good. That's nice and open. Your sacral. It's open, but it's not as open. And your root is open, but not as open. So it looks like this.
Okay.
You're open, but it's like this. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So you're not closed, but this is what your energy pattern right now.
Okay.
If that makes sense, okay?
Yeah.
So then if that were what I saw or looked at, then I would work my way up, right? I would start where it was less and open that area and then kind of ground it. Because the top half is already open. I'm just going after the parts that are imbalanced.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to fix what's not broken.
Right.
Right. So I just go after the areas that are imbalanced and then I ground it. And then I look again. Okay, we're good. Yeah, and it's really just like a tune-up. This is your friendly tune-up service.
That's right.
Get your weekly tune-up here.
Oh, okay. So that's a great question. Like, how often do you think, like, getting assessed or assessing yourself or getting sound healing is?
Okay, that is an excellent question because I just heard some great advice. I didn't hear it, I read it. I read some great advice over this last week because I was doing a little more research about this information for you guys. And what I learned is that they actually recommend when you're first doing this, because it can overstimulate some people depending on if they already have certain disease processes going on in their body, if they're on certain medications, or if they have a mental illness. Okay. The other thing is, so answering that, they recommend starting out using it like 5 minutes, 10 minutes at a time. And some sound clips. I've actually have it on my list of to do sound clips of each, 5 minutes each, so that they're just, you're getting what you need for that moment, and then you build yourself up. It's like going out and working out at the gym and going 100 pounds versus 500 pounds. You know what I mean?
Sure, sure.
So, I get off on a little tangent. I was trying to get back to my question, to your question, rather.
Well, it's the same thing, right? Those of us in the enlightenment realms.
Yeah.
We're not playing that. We're not playing that game today, but okay.
That?
I said we're not playing that game today.
No. But there was something else I wanted to share with you about that. I don't remember. All right. Getting back to the question about long distance, though, that is exactly how I would utilize that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And it's by proxy, right? I mean, I guess, no,
Well, it's by intention. So you brought my energy there.
oh, it's upstairs. I didn't bring him down here yet, but I have a Winnie the Pooh stuffed animal that I use as my proxy when I do long distance healings.
I have this Raggedy Ann doll that's like got chakras on it. So if I'm doing healing, I do the healing on the Raggedy Ann.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because that's how I was taught was, it's easier if you have a physical subject in front of you. So when you are doing the long distance healings and such, it's so much easier to connect. I don't know. I just think it is. It's a tactile thing. And
yeah, me too. All right. Well, this has been great.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
So next week we'll be doing something else, but this has been really fun. So I am going to leave the recording here.
Okay.
All right.